August 20th, 1971. The experiment was supposed to last 2 weeks. It didn't even make it to 1. By day 6, grown men were screaming, breaking down, begging to be released. Not from a real prison, but from a basement, from a simulation, from something that wasn't supposed to be real until it was. This is the story of how ordinary college students, healthy, intelligent, carefully selected, became cruel, submissive, and terrifyingly obedient. This is the Stanford Prison Experiment. It begins in the summer of 1971 at Stanford University, a quiet campus, bright students, endless ambition, and one question: how far will people go when given power? The man asking it was Philip Zimbardo, a respected psychologist, curious, driven. He wanted to understand prison brutality, not by studying criminals, but by creating them. He put out an ad in a local newspaper: male college students needed for a psychological study of prison life, $15 per day. 75 applied. 24 were selected. All were mentally stable, physically healthy, no criminal background. Normal, ordinary, exactly what Zimbardo needed. The transformation began. The participants were randomly divided. Half became guards. Half became prisoners. No one knew what was coming. The prison was built in the basement of Stanford's psychology building. Narrow corridors, small cells, no windows, no escape from the environment. Then something strange happened. The experiment didn't start in the basement. It started at their homes. Real police officers arrived, sirens, handcuffs, public arrests. Neighbors watched as these students were taken away. Fingerprints, mugshots, strip searches. They were no longer students. They were prisoners, each given a number. No names, no identity, just a number stitched onto a loose smock. And the guards? They were given uniforms, sunglasses to hide their eyes, batons, authority, and one simple instruction: maintain order. They were told they could not use physical violence, but everything else was up to them. At first, it felt like a game. Awkward laughter, uncertainty, but not long. By the end of day 1, the guards began to change. They stood taller, spoke sharper, gave orders with confidence. The prisoners started to obey, quietly, reluctantly, but consistently. Something was shifting. The uniforms weren't costumes anymore. They were identities. Day 2. The prisoners rebel. They barricade their cell doors, refuse to follow orders, shout back, demand control. The guards respond, not with force, but with humiliation. They strip prisoners naked, take away their beds, lock them in isolation, force them to clean toilets with their bare hands. The rebellion is crushed, quickly, efficiently, and something darker takes hold. The guards escalate, not because they're told to, but because they can. They invent punishments, push-ups for minor mistakes, sleep deprivation, verbal abuse. They begin to enjoy it. Not all of them, but enough. And the rest say nothing. They watch, they comply, they become part of it. The prisoners begin to crack. Emotionally, psychologically. One breaks down within 36 hours, screaming, crying, uncontrollable rage. He's released. Others follow. Anxiety, depression, panic attacks. They forget it's an experiment. They forget they can leave because it doesn't feel like a choice anymore. It feels real. The guards call them by numbers. The prisoners respond.
Even Zimbardo stops seeing them as students. He becomes the prison superintendent, not the observer. He enforces rules, supports the guards. The line between experiment and reality disappears.
Power corrupts. One guard stands out. Creative, cruel, calculated. He devises new punishments, makes prisoners repeat degrading tasks, mocks them, breaks them down, not with violence, but with control, psychological control. And the others follow his lead, because power spreads. It normalizes behavior. It erases empathy. This wasn't about bad people. It was about the situation, the system, the roles. Given power, unchecked, people change fast. Day 6. A young woman walks into the basement. Christina Maslach. She isn't part of the experiment. She sees it for what it is. Disturbing, cruel, unethical. She confronts Zimbardo. What you're doing to these boys is terrible. And for the first time, he sees it, not as a researcher, but as an outsider would. The illusion breaks. The experiment ends immediately. It was supposed to last 14 days. It ended in 6. Half the prisoners showed extreme emotional distress. The guards, many were shaken by their own behavior. They didn't recognize themselves. How did it happen so quickly? How did normal people become this? The results shocked the world and raised a terrifying possibility. Anyone could do this, under the right conditions. The line between us. The experiment revealed something uncomfortable. Humans adapt to roles quickly. Authority changes behavior. Anonymity removes accountability. And environments shape morality. When systems reward control, people take it. When no one stops them, they go further. It's not just about who someone is. It's about where they are and what they're allowed to become. The Stanford Prison Experiment became one of the most famous and controversial studies in history. It influenced prison reform, changed ethical standards in psychology, but it was also criticized for lack of scientific control, for ethical violations, for pushing participants too far. Still, its message remains powerful and deeply unsettling. The basement is gone. The cells are empty. But the question remains, what would you do, given power, given control, given a system that allows cruelty? Would you resist, or would you adapt? Because the scariest part of this story is not what happened in 1971. It's what it revealed about human nature. The line between good and evil is thinner than most people think. And sometimes, all it takes to cross it is a uniform.